Go.
Dave, do you believe in Fitz magic?
I don't know. What is up, know it alls? We are back with another episode. I am your co host, David.
And I'm Joey.
Okay, guys, if you're new to the channel, we are just two friends from elementary school that love to argue about sports. So
Yes, we do.
basically, we're just a sports talk channel. And if you're new, make sure you hit the subscription button. That would mean a lot to us. And let's kick things off. What a week two in the NFL, right, Joe?
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty painful. I mean, last night watching my Giants, it sort of soured the whole day for me. But I'll say that for another video. But let's get right into week two of the NFL. Let's start off with the Panthers and Falcons. Dave, this was a pretty exciting game. But the biggest question mark for me, I think, is what are they doing with McCaffrey? Did you know that he has more receptions than he has rushing attempts?
Really? Kind of
Yeah, he
similar
has
to your
like
Giants with Saquon, no?
Yeah, both Saquon and McCaffrey, they're just.
But didn't we know that going in when they drafted him out of Stanford? Didn't they? Everyone kind of figured that they were going to use him a lot as a receiver as opposed to a traditional running back.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like more targets than like rushing attempts. He has more catches than rushing attempts. Like
Yeah,
they just refuse to run the ball with him. That's a little surprising to me. I didn't expect that.
yeah. I definitely thought the Panthers were going to take this game. Atlanta showed me a lot.
Mm.
Um, I just like I'm a fan of Cam Newton, but at the end of the day, I kind of had a realization watching the game this weekend that it's either he's riding cloud nine, he's at the top of the world and everything's going great, or he's just the worst and he's crying and he's moaning about everything, and it's just like I wish he had a like an in between, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's a roller coaster. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Yeah, and at
You never know
quarterback, you
what you're
need
gonna
that
get.
stability. You need like that kind of easy keel going guy that's going to right you the ship.
I agree. All right, so let's move on. Next game we have the Chargers and the Bills. And boy, I'm thankful as a Giants fan that the Bills are sort of taking the pressure off of the Giants for being the worst team in the NFL, I think.
Or in New York.
Yeah, in New York, the Bills are just terrible this year. Surprised that they scored 20 against the Chargers. Everyone knew the Chargers were going to win this game. What are your takeaways?
Um, I can't believe Vontae Davis retired in halftime. Like, who does that? That's never happened in the NFL before. I can't even imagine going into the half and then this guy's just like, "Hey guys, I'm out. I'm retiring." Like, what do you say to him? Like, apparently his teammates were pissed off. I'd be pissed too. I'm like, "What the
Yeah, of
heck? Like,
course.
you're just gonna leave in the middle of a game?" Like, obviously he predetermined, like he knew that he wanted it, he was thinking about it. You don't just all of a sudden be like, "Oh, I'm out of here." Like, that just doesn't happen. I was shocked. Like, I cannot believe that happened.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest sucker moves I've ever seen. Just the fact that, you sat in your locker at halftime, looked around, and said, "Nah, I'm out."
Yeah.
Like, at least finish out the game. I mean, give me a break. You've made it through. You can do one more half. Don't quit on your teammates mid-game. It's just a sucker move. I couldn't believe it when I heard about it.
Do you think that he called his grandma before he made that decision?
I think she definitely was in the know
She
about
was
what
in
was
the
going
know for
on.
sure.
Yeah,
He was.
for sure.
All right. All right, next game we got them Vikings and the Packers.
Yeah, the Vikings. I was super surprised that there was it ended in a draw. I think the Vikings are one of the most loaded teams just in the NFL. I'm surprised that they couldn't put it away. I mean, they scored 22 points in the fourth quarter, yet they could not score anything in overtime. That's definitely surprising. And it's a weird common theme that so early in the season we're seeing a whole bunch of draws because of
Yeah.
missed kicks and things like that. It's very surprising.
Yeah. Honestly, like the Vikings kicker has to get fired, right?
I
Like
think he did. He got waived.
oh, he did. He got waived.
Yeah,
I would have
yeah,
waived him too. I mean, he ruined it
yeah,
for everything. And then the one thing I want to talk about this game is Clay Matthews.
yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm just kind of at the point where it's like, what is a defender supposed to do? Like when you get in, you can't go too high, you can't go too low. He hit him on the waist, and they said that he lifted him up and slammed him on the ground. Like what is he supposed to do at this? Like
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, the league has these unrealistic like fascinations that the human the human body doesn't work the way they think it's going to work. Like
Yeah,
when you cannot make like split second decisions, split second adjustments like that when you're like going to tackle someone. Like that was just a ridiculous call. Clay Matthews had every right to be upset. I mean, I don't think he's that good of a linebacker anyway, but I mean, he deserved it that one. That was definitely not a roughing the passer call.
yeah,
I mean, there's what more do you want him to do?
yeah. I mean, it kind of comes to a point where it's like I get what the league is trying to do, where they're trying to protect their investment, like they're trying to protect the quarterbacks. They want to keep the ratings high because when the best players are on the field, that's when most people watch, and I get that. And I'm all about protecting the quarterback, but it's still a violent game. It's still a tackle football. You can't.
Take the tackle part out.
Yeah, it's really tough for those defenders. I mean, I don't know what you want them to do at this point. Like I feel like anytime you touch them, you're gonna get a penalty.
Yeah, and I just don't know, like, moving forward into the future, like, what happens, like, because I feel like it's only gonna get worse. It's not gonna get better. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
So,
So next up, we got the Titans beating my predicted AFC champion Texans, and
yeah,
I don't look very smart right now.
dude, I mean, you and like everyone else, I don't think anyone was expecting the Texans to start off the season 0-2. Like that, it's just mind-boggling. I thought I mean, they do have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, and the fact that they're 0-2 is just ridiculous to me.
I
I don't know how
know.
the Titans pulled this one
They
out, to be
lost to
honest
the
with you.
Titans with that had Blaine Gabbert as their starting quarterback.
I
I mean,
mean,
what else can you say? Like that's just
what year
sad.
is this? Yeah, like what year is this?
Oh
This is
my
insanity.
gosh. Insane, dude. Dude,
Yeah.
next up, the Browns being the Browns. They get a game-winning touchdown and they botch the game-winning extra point.
Yeah. Just when you think Cleveland, might start to turn it around, they do the most Cleveland thing ever and just continue to shoot themselves in the foot. So I'm of the mindset that the Browns have looked a lot better than the Giants this year or the Bills, but the Browns are still the most embarrassing team in the National
I
Football
know,
League.
it's just like they can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
It's just like comical at this point. Like they just keep it's repetitive. It's like it's not like a bad luck thing. It's if you do it over and over and over again, it's a you thing. Like
Yeah.
you gotta right the ship. You gotta fix this, man. Like
What
oh
are
my
you
god.
what are you doing over there in Cleveland?
Whatever they're
Like,
doing, it's like the opposite of trying to win games. Like I feel like they get close and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we're actually about to win," and they just choke it away. At this point,
yeah.
it's a complex. I mean, like they can't.
It is. I don't know what needs to happen. I don't know if there's like a coaching. I mean, there should be a coaching change. I don't think Coach Hugh is the right coach for them. But boy, I don't know what I want to see what they're gonna do next, man, because they're
Everyone
just.
likes Todd Haley. Everyone wants him to take over.
I mean, I feel he would definitely be a better coach than Coach Hugh, I think.
At this point, would you go with Baker, or you want to keep Tyrod in there?
No, I would go with Tyrod still. I mean, he's putting you in a position to win these games. It's not his fault. He's
Yeah,
definitely not losing you the games.
I
I
agree
don't
with
think he's
you.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he's not hasn't done anything to lose his job.
yeah, I agree. I mean, both games were definitely winnable. The first two, they could easily be
Yeah,
2-0, and instead they're 0
that's
1 and
that's
1.
hilarious. How
Yeah.
hilarious would that be?
Oh my gosh, Browns. It would have been crazy if they went 2-0 to start the season.
Yeah, I'm like so interested to see like I just I don't want this, but what must Browns fans be thinking this time of year? They must be in like the longest depression ever. Just
I
like
mean,
a year.
if I'm a Browns fan, I'm like I'm upset that we're 0-1 and 1, but I feel good about it because they're competitive. You know what I mean? Like they're not just. It's not even
Yeah,
like they're getting destroyed, and they lost to two really good. Well, they tied to the
yeah,
Steelers, and they lost to a really good team in the Saints at New Orleans. I thought the
yeah,
Saints were going to kill them in that game. I was shocked when
yeah,
it was so close.
yeah, and that speaks more to the Saints. I mean, I had them. I mean, going so far this year, and I look like an idiot because the Saints are just super disappointing.
I
Like their
mean,
defense
it's still
is
early. It's still early.
it's still early, but their defense has been garbage. Their offense has been, as expected. But I mean, the fact that they couldn't put away the Browns, I don't think they're going to go far
I
in the
agree.
playoffs.
I agree. Dude, and
Yeah.
next up, my guy, Mahomes. I called it from the beginning, dude.
Get out of
From the
here! I
beginning of the
hate you.
season, I looked at you
No
in the
way.
face and I said, dude, Patrick
You
Mahomes, that
bastard.
guy's the man. They're going to average
You,
over 30 points a game. Hop on the train.
how dare you? How
That's
dare
my
you steal the words?
guy.
How dare you steal the words from my mouth?
Dude,
I told you beginning of the year, Mahomes is the real deal. This kid is just going to be an MVP candidate, perennial MVP candidate soon enough. He is just on fire. The Chiefs are on fire. Their offense is just amazing. And you don't need a good defense when you can outscore anyone in the world.
I'll
And I
give
think
you
that's
that.
what's yeah, I think that's
Dude,
what's going
you
to happen with the
called
Chiefs this
that
year.
from the beginning.
Yeah, the Chiefs are insane.
They really are. The Steelers came back. I thought the Steelers were going to come
Yeah,
back and win that game.
yeah,
But I mean, if the Chiefs want to win the AFC, they're going to have to play the Patriots, and you cannot be that bad on defense because Tom Brady will beat you. So they got
yeah.
to fix something if they want to go far in the playoffs.
I mean, I know that they say defense wins championships, but I mean, this offense is pretty good.
Yeah. And how do you feel? I mean, another week, Le'Veon Bell's not in there, and Connor plays a solid game.
Yeah,
It looks like they don't even need him. They're not even missing
no.
him at this point. And then did you see today? Someone called out Antonio Brown and said, "Oh, the only reason why
I
you have
saw that.
stats is Roethlisberger," and he said, "Okay, then trade me."
Yeah. I think this is not talked about enough, but I think Antonio Brown is actually the biggest diva in the NFL. People say Odell is the biggest diva. If Odell did half the stuff that Antonio Brown does, like on the sidelines or just talking with fans or all this, like Odell would get a much worse rap. I mean, Antonio Brown's he just loves drama. I feel like with this guy.
Dude, I thought that was crazy. Like
Yeah,
they're a circus in Pittsburgh.
yeah,
It's just things always
absolutely.
happen. There's always some kind of drama. I think it starts at the top. I think Tomlin kind of just that he doesn't have a full
He
grip
doesn't
on
do
the
anything. He just lets them
roster.
say whatever they want. Lets
Yeah,
them run wild.
it's crazy. And I agree with you. Antonio Brown, for whatever reason, doesn't get the same rap as Odell Beckham because he's had multiple issues as far as going to Facebook
Yeah,
Live during a Tomlin thing. And he always seems to
yeah,
have something going on with him. And he doesn't really ever get criticized for it.
yeah. And if he does get criticized, it's just like, all right, well, he's passionate. Just move on. Well, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where's that logic with Odell?
I
You know
know.
what I
But
mean?
everyone loves to get on Odell. That's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Facts. Dude, Fitzmagic.
Fitz
Tell me
magic.
about the Fitzmagic, the
Woo!
pride and
Do
joy
you
of Harvard.
do you believe in magic? Where it's coming from, Fitz?
Dude, I love this swag outfit. He wore Deshaun
Dude,
Jackson's
he
thing.
is he is amazing. I don't think you cannot be an NFL fan and not tell me that Ryan Fitzpatrick is not your favorite
He
player
looked
right
like
now.
Conor McGregor in the
He
thing.
did. He did.
Yeah.
He really did. And you
There-
know what? I love him for beating the Eagles. I mean, shout out to that. But boy, I'm really curious about what they're gonna do when Jameis Winston comes back. I mean, you can't sit Fitzpatrick. Like, how can you?
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, they're not going to put Jameson. There's no way. They'd be crazy if they put
Yeah.
Jameson, especially if he keeps this up. Even if I mean, he's probably not going to go for 400 for like 4 touchdowns every single game like he's been
But what
doing.
if he does, though,
But what
David?
if he
What if
does?
he
MVP,
does?
dude, him and Mahomes,
Oh my
MVP
God.
race. Who saw that
MVP?
coming? Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Fitzpatrick at a dead heat. They're the
Yeah,
MVP favorites at this point.
they have to be insanity.
Funny.
And but talking about the Eagles, some good slash bad news. Good news for the Eagles, bad news for the Giants. Carson Wentz just got cleared to come back
Yeah.
for Week 3. He's going to be the starter moving forward, and you just got to imagine that they're just going to just run away with it now.
If
Having
he's ready to go, I think they're forcing him. I think they're kind of jumping the gun with it. I wouldn't mind keeping Foles in there for a while. But then again, I don't know. I don't know their medical staff. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But I
Yeah,
wouldn't personally rush him back too fast.
yeah, yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. What do we got next? We got the Colts and the Redskins.
Hmm.
This is tied, I think, for probably the most boring game
That
of
was my
yesterday.
upset of the week, and I called that.
Really?
Colts over
Wait,
the Redskins.
that's considered an upset?
Yeah, the Redskins were favored by a touchdown.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, that's surprising to
they were
me.
favored by 7 going into that game.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. Like, I didn't watch too much of it, I'll admit, but I'm not surprised that the Colts won. I think Andrew Luck. I mean, he's had a pretty, decent, comeback this year. He's putting up some pretty good stats. So, yeah, I think the Colts are gonna do pretty well this year.
Next up, the Golden State Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals, and that was a wreck.
Yeah,
Honestly, no one's talking about the Rams
I was just
because
about
they're
to say that.
quiet. They're the
Yeah,
best team in the league, and it's not even
really,
close. If you watch this roster, they're so stacked
really.
offensively, defensively, special teams. Like they even have the best punter and kicker, arguably, in the game. They are so unbelievably stacked. Sean McVay is such a good coach. You never hear a peep talking about Tomlin, how with the Steelers everything's going and going. You never hear anything from the Rams. And they have a
Yeah,
locker full of divas. They got like
yeah.
Sue, they got Peters, they got Talib, they got all
Got
these
Donald.
dudes that are
Yeah,
always talking and you hear nothing about them. And all they do for the past 2 weeks, they go out there and they wreck teams. And do you
they
know
get W's.
since McVay has been
Head
the
coach.
head coach, they've played 18 total games. And this is after he
Yeah,
revived Goff because Goff his rookie year was awful.
not good.
Of those 18 games, 11 of them they've scored more than 30.
Boy, what's that like to score more than 30 points in a game? I forget. But yeah, like you said, I don't know if I quite agree about the Rams being the best team in football. I still think the Chiefs are. I mean, I'll give you the Rams are better on the defensive side, but I'm just the Chiefs are my team this year. I'm just going with it.
Both
But
games haven't even been a game with the Rams. They've run
that's
away
fair.
with it, both offensively and defensively.
That's fair.
And I could
Eh,
argue against the Cardinals last week, they didn't even play their best game. They didn't even look that great.
Yeah. Another thing that no one's talking about is the Cardinals. I mean, we're talking about like the Bills, the Giants, the Browns. The Cardinals are pretty terrible.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad.
They are very bad. At
Hmm.
what point? I'll give it till maybe like midway during the season until Rosen starts coming in
Yeah,
because
see, keep
it's
going.
a
I'm sorry.
losing season. It's a losing season for them. I don't know what they're going to do moving forward.
It is for sure, but like, see, that's another thing. Like I said before, like I'm not a fan of throwing in rookie quarterbacks. Your team's awful. You're gonna suck. You're not gonna win. Why throw him in there and ruin him potentially? Like kill his
Yeah,
spirits, and make it just seem harder than it actually is. Why not just finish out the season, groom him, make sure he's ready to go, and come back reloaded next season instead of just feeding. It's essentially feeding him to the wolves. They're not going
yeah,
to go to the playoffs. They're going to win 3-4 games this year. So
yeah,
why put him through that? That's just my opinion. But I could be wrong.
yeah. I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I feel like, I mean, I could see it both ways. Yeah, like you were
Yeah.
saying. Anyway, so moving forward, who we got next? The Lions and the 49ers.
Niners.
Wow, what
Jimmy
a
G.
what a high scoring game we got here, 30-27.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G's getting back in the win column. Happy to see it.
Oh yeah.
The Lions continue to just disappoint,
Yeah,
I
they're
guess.
not going to be very good this year.
No, they're definitely not going to be.
Matt Patricia has been a letdown thus far. I feel
Yeah,
like they had
I'm
big hopes with him to change their defense, and he hasn't really done much.
yeah, I'm curious to see how bad it gets in Detroit. I see them winning maybe like 6 games this year, the way they've been playing so far.
Broncos and Raiders, and I did not watch a single snap of this game. I'm going to be brutally honest. It wasn't
You
even
know,
on TV, like at the bar that I was at. Like they had
yeah.
every game. I couldn't even see the Raiders and Broncos.
No one wants to tune in for Gruden. Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. Demarius Thomas had a really bad drop at the end of the game that almost cost Denver this W, but luckily Case Keenum. I mean, this guy he looks good for this team. I mean, they all like him in the locker room. They like him on the field. He just steps up, and I think. I mean, yeah, Broncos 2-0. Their defense is disgusting. Very curious to see what they're going to do in that division with the Chiefs. I don't think they're going to win. I think they finish second, take a wild card spot.
Hmm.
But the Raiders just look like a mess from top to bottom.
Yeah. With John Gruden, I have a
Yeah,
question. I was
what's up?
listening to Colin Cowherd on Fox
Yeah,
earlier today, and he brought up a really interesting point. He essentially said that with a lot of different professions, like you can be in, let's say you work for UPS, you're with mail, right?
Yeah.
You can leave that job for a year and come back, and it's the same.
Yeah.
Football is forever changing. So
No.
John Gruden, although he's been around the league, he's been in Monday Night Football, he's been an analyst, he hasn't been a coach for 10
Yep.
plus years. So do you think he's lost his touch? Do you think he's kind of out of date and maybe not as good as a head coach as he was before?
Absolutely. I mean, he wasn't even that good of a head coach to begin with. I mean, call me crazy, but I think he's spent so much time in the booth, coming back now and expecting immediate success or even just long-term success. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Raiders really messed up giving him 10 years for that contract. I don't think he makes it to year 4. But we've seen this before. We've seen coaches come back in different sports and try to, take those old school mentalities, old school strategies, and apply it to the modern game, and it just doesn't work. I mean, the Knicks brought in Phil Jackson, and everyone thought that was really awesome, and the Knicks were terrible because the triangle just doesn't work in the NBA. And I think it's more the same with Gruden. I don't think his strategies are going to be very effective in today's
Yeah,
NFL.
I'm with you. All right, last game, Patriots and Jags. It was my game of the week, and I predicted it right.
The Jags, baby. The Jags are for real. Bortles was playing. I think that was the best game of his career. He
Oh,
looked
for sure, for
absolutely
sure.
insane. Um, Boy, if Blake Bortles can keep that up with that defense, I
They're
mean,
scary.
they're
They're scary.
scary. They might go to the Super Bowl this year. They might actually do it because that was the biggest question mark. It was Blake Bortles and what you're getting on the offense. If they can do that, if they're putting up 31 points like that, like, with that defense, the sky's the limit. I think they are like right now one of the scariest teams in the league.
I'm with you. Shout out to John Lennon in the comments below. One of our
Yeah,
subscribers. Go Jags.
yeah, biggest Jags fan we got.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think I've ever seen the Jaguars put so much faith and trust in Blake Bortles. They
Yeah,
came out and the Patriots were flat out like they came out and they loaded the box. They had 7, 8 in the box at all time, and they had man
yeah,
coverage on the outside on all their receivers. And they forced Blake. They were like, we're not gonna let you run. You're gonna have to throw it with Blake,
yeah.
and he threw it on them. And at the end of the game, even when like time was coming out, there was like a minute left. They threw the ball on a third down. Like they're trusting this guy. It's not like he's just out
Yeah.
there and he played good in the first half and then they milked the clock at the end. Like they were trusting him to throw down. Like that was a big game for him and a huge confidence booster. And I'm a firm believer when you're going against like the big dog, like the Patriots, and you're the Jags and you're competitive with them. Like last year, you almost had him. You almost had him.
Yep.
There's a little bit of psychology behind it. You don't believe you can beat them until you actually beat them. And now that they've
Yeah.
beat them, I think that's a huge momentum going into the playoffs. And if they see them, they're going to be a much better team for that.
Yeah. And we didn't talk about it, but Blake Bortles did that without Leonard Fournette.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I
that's
know.
insane.
I know.
He didn't have a running game. He did it all by himself. So if he's playing like that and they get Fournette back, I mean, scary.
Sky
I
is
mean,
the limit. Sky is
yeah,
the limit.
absolutely, dude.
All right, guys. That's it. That
Yep.
is our week 2 review. Joey, got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, it was a super interesting day to say the least. Like I said, the Giants loss sort of spoiled it for me, but really surprising results. A lot of teams that me and Dave both thought were going to do really well have just been really disappointing to start the season, and teams that we didn't have a lot of faith in or expectations for, like the Buccaneers, are doing fantastic. So I'm just very excited to see what's going to happen this year. I think it's
Fitz
going to be,
magic. Fitz
yeah,
magic.
it's going to be a lot of drama. It's going to be really fun to watch.
All right, guys, in the comments below, I want to hear what your thoughts are on Clay Matthews'
Yep.
hit, on Kirk Cousins. I also want to hear about the Vontae Davis retirement at halftime. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, guys, make sure to drop a like for us. We really appreciate that.
Yep.
Leave your comments down below. Hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
See ya. Let's get it.
Hey, see you guys. Thank
All
you.
right.